Perek Arba Misas Bezdin, Daf Mendalim, sponsored for Refuah Shalema for Yosef David ben Rezel. The Mishnah on yesterday's Daf brought a dispute between the Rabbanan and Rabbi Yehuda. How many sacrifices one brings for inadvertently transgressing incest with one's mother and his father's wife. Based on 3 verses in Vayikra, Brisa and the Gemara explain their respective opinions. 2 verses are from Parshas Achrei Mos that mention the Azharas, the Arayas prohibitions, 1 from Kedoshim that mentions the Arayas punishments. Chapters 18 and 20. Here are the conclusions. In chapter 18, verse 7, Erva Savicha Verva Simcha Lo Segale, Imcha Hi Lo Segale Ervasa. Erva Savicha Lo Segale. Rabbi Yehuda holds it is an Azhara concerning a father's wife. The Rabbanan interpret it literally sodomizing one's father. Ervas Imcha Lo Segale. Rabbi Yehuda holds it is an Azhara for one not to commit incest with his mother. The Rabbanan hold the same. Imcha Hi. Rabbi Yehuda interprets it limiting a son to one sacrifice for an inadvertent transgression with his father's wife, who is also his mother. The Rabbanan interpreted teaching the punishment for incest with one's mother not mentioned in Kedoshim. Pasuk Ches, verse 8. Ervas Eishes Avicha Lo Segale, Ervas Avicha Hi. Ervas Eishes Avicha. Since Rabbi Yehuda interprets verse 7 referring to his father's wife, he explains the additional prohibition mentioned in verse 8 to include in the prohibition after the father's death. The Rabbanan who interpret the verse 7 literally as a son sodomizing his father explained this verse referring to his father's wife. Ervas Avicha Hi, Rabbi Yehuda interprets it as liability only for a sacrifice for one's father's wife and not for a married woman. The Rabbanan interpret it as extending the prohibition of the father's wife to after his death. The pasuk in Kedoshim, Perek Chav, pasuk Yud Aleph, verse 11, V'isha she'yishkav v'zeishes aviv, ervas aviv gila, mos yumsu shneim d'meim bam. Ervas aviv gila, Rabbi Yehuda uses it for Gezerah Shabbat to combine the verses stating the prohibitions and punishments. The Rabbanan interpret it as extending the punishment for a father's wife after he dies. Now we move on to a new Mishnah. The Mishnah continues discussing other transgressions punished by stoning, homosexuality, source for prohibition for one who commits the act. Vayikra Perek Yud Ches, Pasuk Chav Beis, V'zachar l'sishkav mishkevei isha toeva hi. Source for punishment, Vayikra Perek Chav, V'isha she'yishkav v'zachar mishkevei isha toeva asu shneim mos yumsu d'meim bam. Source for nishkav, one who submits to the act. Rabbi Shmuel learns it from Lo Yeh Kodesh B'Bnei Yisrael. Another verse in Malachim refers to it as an abomination like the Torah's description of homosexuality. Rabbi Akiva learns from the unpunctuated Tishkav that it includes Tishachev, one who submits. The punishment of stoning is derived from D'meim Ba. Sodomy, source of prohibition, Pasuk Chav Gimel, V'chol behema lo siten shechavtecha l'tam haba v'ish lo yisamu lifnei behema l'riva tevelhu. Source of prohibition for one who submits. Rabbi Shmuel also says Lo Yeh Kadesh. Rabbi Akiva reads Lo Sitein Shechavtecha as Shechiva Sech, to prohibit submitting to copulate with an animal. Source of punishment concerning a Masis, one who influences others to worship idols. The verse states in Devarim Perek Yud Gimel Pasuk Yud, Ki arog targena yodcha tiyabo barishona la'amiso v'yad kol ha'am b'achrona uskalto b'avonim v'meis. Concerning the animal that participated in the act of sodomy, v'isha she'yitein shechavtoi b'bhema mos yumas v'sabehema tarogu. Source of punishment for one who submits. Pasuk Yud Ches, kol shochen b'bhema mos yumas. Since the previous verse teaches the punishment for one who commits the act with the animal, this verse refers to one who submitted. Practical difference. Rabbi Yehoshua holds for both homosexuality and sodomy, Rabbi Shmuel requires 2 sacrifices for inadvertent transgression, since there are 2 separate prohibitions for committing and submitting. Rabbi Akiva require 1, since they are learned from the same verse. Abaya holds Lo Yeh Kadesh does not apply to sodomy, only to homosexuality. He explains Rabbi Shmuel learns it from the extra verse, Kol shochev behema mos yumas. Since the one submitting is described as the one committing, whatever applies to one applies to the other. One who is sodomized by a male and by an animal in one period of unawareness. Rabbi Yevoah holds Rabbi Akiva requires 2. 1 for lo sishkav and 1 for lo sitein shechavtecha. Rabbi Shmuel requires 1 for lo yeh kadesh, whereas Abaya holds Rabbi Shmuel requires 2. One who commits and submits to a homosexual act, commits and submits to sodomy in one period of unawareness. Both require 3 for Rabbi Shmuel and 2 for Rabbi Akiva. If you're enjoying Daf 5, please click on the link below, subscribe, and become a sponsor. Have a Shavua Tov. Thank you.